Okay, thank you, everybody. We're so excited to interview former Beth Aaron members. Even though they're former Beth Aaron members, they're still very active in our hearts. And this is Jeff and Hedy Shron, who lived on Francis Street when they were in Teaneck, and we will now begin the interview. Okay, well, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's
Good,
great to see
good.
you. Please share with us just briefly, introduce yourselves and include when and where you made Aliyah and the name of all the members of your family.
Okay, well, we made Aliyah in 2017, and it's Jeff and I and Carla. Well, I'll start with the oldest. You all know Josh. Josh was about 7 when we moved to Teaneck. So Josh and Mayrav, their anniversary was yesterday, and they're married 24 years, and they have 5 children. Their children, do I have to name them all?
No, not at all. We want
so Simcha is the oldest, and he's at YU, and he spent Shana Aleph and Shana Bet here. And now Vardit, who's 18, is at MMY, and then their 3 other kids are still at home. One of their daughters goes to Mayanot, and then we have Carla and Ellie. Ellie, as you might have known, moved here when he was 14, and he just wanted to stay in Israel. He loved Israel, and Carla was forced to move here because she loved Ellie. So they have 4 children, and their oldest is 16, Akiva, and then there's Nate, and there's Gabriella, and there's Gila. And then my son Shmuel.
They live in Modin, correct?
They live in Modin, right? They live right around the corner from us, which is really very nice. So then Shmuel, which would surprised many of you that we had a 3rd child so much later in life in Teaneck. And I remember a lot of people being very surprised that we had him. So Shmuel is like 36 now, and he married a lovely, lovely girl from the heart of Manhattan. Her name is Emily, and I think some people came to their wedding from Teaneck, which was very, very nice. And they have 1 child who's 2 years old. His name is Mikey Menachem Meir. So he's 2.5, and we always video chat with him, and I tell him stories and whatever. Okay,
so
next.
To your Aliyah experience. So you first moved to, after you left Teaneck, you moved to Kansas City. You were there for about 20 years. And then you were, even though you didn't make Aliyah until 2017, you were back and forth in Israel. Tell us why.
Right. Well, we came back several times a year to visit our daughter and her family. And we were fortunate enough to buy an apartment in 2005 in Modi'in when the prices weren't crazy. So we had this apartment ready for us whenever we felt we were going to make Aliyah. So again, we were back and forth many, many times throughout the years.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And I know that you led some tour groups from Kansas. You were leading some tour groups in Israel. So you were in Israel.
Right.
Many times.
Well, yeah, I started out as the chazan of the shul, and then I ended up being the rabbi of the shul. So in my capacity, Hedy and I led tours to Israel with the congregants. One of them was in 2001 during the Intifada, but thank God everything went well. And so it was very good experiences. And I think, as a matter of fact, one of the families that went with us on the tour also made Aliyah. So wow. And a number of children from our shul have made Aliyah as well.
Wow. Okay.
I was born in Israel. I don't know if a lot of people know that. So I said, well, in our old age, maybe we'll come back to Israel, but we came back sooner than our old ages. So,
yeah. So when you came in 2017, you were, I guess you were retired by that point, but were you, well, let me, before I get there. So you went to Modi'in because you had bought your apartment in Modi'in because Carla was there. And then at that point, when you made Aliyah, you had retired. So what did you do? What kinds of activities were you doing when you got to Israel? Any volunteer, any kind of,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we both volunteer in some of the public schools, helping the students with learning English. So we go into the classrooms and we take kids out privately and
And you joined the Army?
oh, well, I didn't join the Army, but I volunteered in Sarel several times where we go to Army bases for a week at a time and do all the work that the soldiers don't want to do. So, and I also teach bar mitzvah kids as well. So we keep busy.
We're pretty busy. And it's a very, very lovely social atmosphere here, just like it was in Teaneck. We loved Teaneck when we moved there in, I think, 1981, somewhere around there. And I just loved, I can't say enough about Teaneck. And that's how much I love Modi'in right now. I love Teaneck and I love Modi'in. So we made, and while we were in Kansas for the 20 years, that was also great. So thank God, God is watching over us, and Baruch Hashem, everything's good here with us.
That's wonderful. Can you think of something, now that you're living in Israel, can you think of something that you could share with us, something that took you by surprise that you were not prepared for when you made?
Tell about the,
or in the first, or the first
no
couple of months?
public service, there's no, yeah.
Well, number one, if you look
This is
up,
funny.
if you look up customer service in the Israeli dictionary, you won't find it. Just not there. But we're very fortunate. The people in Modi'in of our age are fantastic. We were amazed how many what they call Anglos live here in the area. And we've created a very nice chevra of people, and we socialize with them often. It was a very welcoming group of people that lived here.
Wonderful, wonderful.
The one thing that we live on well, everything in Modi'in is busy. I was going to say we live in a busy street, but everything in Modi'in is busy. But we often sit on our terrace, our merpesets, and the people walking by. We live on the first floor, which is very high up, but we can see people on the street. So I am so shocked that there's so many Anglos living here. Every second person that passes by our terrace going somewhere speaks English. So it's amazing. We hardly ever use Hebrew because everyone here speaks English, and even Israelis. Every Israeli knows a little bit of English. So it's really very nice. And we've interacted with a lot of plumbers and tile people and here and there and kitchen people, and we've somehow managed to convey our needs to them. So between their English and our little bit of Hebrew and things like that, it's working out.
And Jeff, you told me before we were on air that you're the Vada Bayit of your apartment building. So you need.
I'm the head of the Vada Bayit. As a matter of fact, there are people working on the pipes as we speak right now down in the parking lot. I'm also the treasurer of the shul that I go to. So between the two of those, there's always something to worry about.
And what is the name of the shul that you go to?
It's called Lechun Ranana.
Oh, that's nice.
Reason being is when it first started as a small group, they met on Friday nights only. And there's a claim to fame is every Friday night they do a Kalbach service. So it draws people from all over to come and partake in the service. And then
Jeff is like their rabbi. They're calling him for everything. They, make a sermon here and do davening here and read the Torah there. And so he's very, very busy with the shul. It's a no-frill shul because it's part of a school right now. It's right around the corner from us. So it's very, very close to us, and that's why we like it. There's a big shul, there's a big American shul that's about 10 minutes away by walking. So we prefer going here, but it is no frills. It's in a big gym, and everybody gets together on Friday night and Shabbos morning, and the rest of the week, Jeff davens in one of the local shuls and drives there. So it's nice.
That's not, it's not atypical, because I know in shuls in Israel are very different from shuls in America. Shuls in America tend to be more communal. They do a lot more than just davening. And in Israel, sometimes the shuls are just, you kind of go there, daven, and you go home.
That's
So-
not true.
Well,
Not in our case. Not in our case.
In the Anglo schools especially, you know, a lot of people are from the United States or England or wherever, and so they like to do social. As a matter of fact, we're part of a committee in the large Anglo shul,
For
and
people 50 and above.
right, and we're part of the programming committee.
So every month we have a social gathering,
Wonderful.
and it's great. It's great. We get together, and Jeff has done in Kansas for 15 years. We hosted the Trivia Bowl. It was called the Trivia Bowl, and every year we had new questions and new overhead. What do you call it? PowerPoint presentations and famous TV shows, famous movies, famous songs, famous books, and things like that. And so this year, as part of our committee for the 50 and above group, we hosted a very, very successful first Trivia Bowl here, and people loved it. It was really great.
Mhm.
So we're keeping very busy here, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We all go on, Olim together. So, you know, there's always social activities going on.
Okay, I mean, it sounds like, of course, it's the best time to make aliyahs when you have the time, when you're retired, you can do these things.
Right.
You want to do. Okay, so the next, can you share, now we're going to switch to, well, let me ask you this. So you think your aliyah absorption was pretty smooth? It sounds like it was pretty smooth, and you already had the
Right.
apartment when you were there, so it wasn't like you had to buy, have to first look for something. So it looks like you had things in place before you actually moved, which is
Right. And we've been to this area so many times visiting our daughter that, you know, we're very familiar with everything.
okay.
And initially, our son-in-law helped us, and people around helped us navigate things, and so that was a nice transition.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay, great. Now I'm going
Yeah.
to switch to questions about Beth Aaron, relating to Beth Aaron. Can you please share a memory or two of the time you spent in when you were an active member in Beth Aaron, and any messages you want to send to your friends?
Well, right before we moved to Beth Aaron, right before we bought our house, we lived in Richfield. We were probably the only Jews that lived in Richfield then, but our Josh started going to Moriah, and he befriended Aaron Roth. And so Debbie became my very, very good friend very, very quickly. And through her, we joined the shul, and we met the Gellises, and we met all these wonderful, wonderful people. We just loved Teaneck. And what can I say? Well, when Shmuel was born, we had, I don't even know if you lived here yet. You did. I don't think you lived here yet, Esther. But when Shmuel was born, 3 months after Shmuel was born, because Shmuel was born at the Mount Airy Lodge during Pesach, so we couldn't have a bris as part of the community. So I said, I love this community so much that 3 months after he was born, we had a huge bris in our backyard. Not a bris, a kiddush in honor. A kiddush in honor of his birth, because I said I have to share this with all of my good friends in Teaneck, who I cherish those memories, and I cherish those people.
Beautiful.
So Aviva LaFell and the Gellises and Gloria and Harold, and all these wonderful, so many, I can't even, the Sterns and everyone. There's so many people, and you, Esther, we loved living near you. It was great.
You know,
And the Isakowitzes and everyone.
We also, I think it's still going on, but we also, a number of us guys got together every other week to play cards. And I actually brought that to Kansas, to my shul. It was a bi-weekly poker game, except in Kansas, they refer to it as the Rabbi Study Group.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
Right.
It's good to share these Teaneck traditions with other communities. Well, and also so I guess the last question I have is, have you remained in contact and close ties with Beth Aaron members? I remember when my son was in NCSY Kollel many years ago, it was you he called that he wanted to have Shabbos with you guys, and you picked him up from wherever that was. This is 15 years ago, but he still remembers that. We still remember that. And so how often do you see other Beth Aaron members, or how often do you see maybe the kids?
There's one Beth Aaron member that we see all the time, Shani Solo, who lives in our development here, and she's part of our social group as well. She moved out. They made Aliyah like 30 years ago or something like that.
I'm not even the name Shani Solo. I don't know.
You don't know her?
No,
She was her sister was married to Rabbi Fass. Is it Fass?
Fass, yeah, who was the rabbi?
Who was the rabbi before?
The original rabbi of the shul, yeah.
So Shani's very well known. A lot of people know Shani very well.
But we've seen, we don't have close contacts because in Modi'in itself, I don't know any other Beth Aaron people who are here, but in Yerushalayim, you have the Feinbergs and the Saltzmans and I don't know, some other people I can't think of offhand, but we've seen them from time to time, and also Devorah Fogel, her name is Devorah Starr right now, so she's very good friends with our daughters, so we see her from time to time. Yeah, so it's always nice reminiscing with the Teaneck people.
But before Corona, you walk down the streets of Ben Yehuda Street in Jerusalem, and you see virtually everyone that you've known your whole life.
Yes.
So it's really very, very nice. We're hoping it gets back to that, but thank goodness we haven't stopped socializing. We haven't stopped doing our regular things throughout this whole 2-year period almost. So we hope that it doesn't get any worse and that we all stay healthy and happy.
Amen. Well,
Yeah.
you were terrific neighbors, and I'm sure you're terrific neighbors now too, whoever your neighbors are. And we miss you a lot, but it is so gratifying to see you so happy and doing what you want to do and enjoying this time with your family who's ever in Israel and enjoying yourselves, staying active. Your apartment, from what I could see, looks beautiful. And
Thank you.
And I appreciate you spending some time with us.
Our pleasure.
And if anybody wants to come and visit, give us a call and we'll host them.
Okay.
We would love to. Yeah. Including you, Esther.
Of course. I call.
Of course.
Okay. So
Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for spending time with us.
Okay.
All right, very good.
We'll see you all in the future. Enjoy. Bye-bye.